Mannatha Shri Jagannatho Madguru Shri Jagadguru Madatma Sarvabhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vyadhasya Charanam Dhruvasya Chavayo Vidya Gajendrasya Ka Kubjaya Kimunam Rupa Madhikam Kim Tat Sudam No Dhanam Aho Chitram Aho Chitram Vande Tat Prema Bandhanam Yad Baddham Muktidam Muktam Brahma Krida Bhrigi Kritam Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vaivedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tagmangha Devamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukchurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. The Divine Souls. Yesterday I began the topic of how we can incorporate bhakti into our daily life. And I asked more specifically that is it even possible for a family person in this age of materiality that we live in to have a chance at God realization? Is it feasible for someone bound by all their worldly commitments to even follow the path of bhakti? And I answered that question in three different ways. First, scripturally, we saw that according to our scriptures, no matter how worldly a person is, no matter how unfortunate their situation may be, everyone has the ability to do bhakti. I also gave you some historical examples of people who had difficult lives, but included devotion as a primary part of their life. And we understood logically as well that when God's whole reason for doing srishti is to give souls a human birth and thereby offer them the chance at God realization, then it's safe to assume that having received a human birth, no matter what situation we find ourselves in, we can definitely find a way to practice bhakti, because that is the only way to attain Him. And that is the goal of every soul. no matter how difficult we think our situation is, we're probably in the top 1% of the human population of this earth, as far as comfort, time. So if we can't do it, who's going to do it? Tell me that. Just because it's Kali Yuga and because you happen to have some family commitments, that doesn't let you off the hook. To give you a little more inspiration, Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, "Na tatha me priyatam atmayo nirnashankara na cha sankarshano na shrir naivatma chayatha bhavan." Hey Uddhav, my devotee is more dear to me than Brahma, who is my own son, Lord Shankar, who is my own self, Balram, who is my older brother, Shri, Lakshmi, who is my other half, and even more dear to me than my own self, who is my devotees. Vipradvishargunayutadarvindanabha padarvinda vimukha chvapacham varishtham. In the Bhagavatam, Prahladji is quoted as saying that a high-born Brahmin with all the great religious virtues is not as dear to Shri Krishna as a very low-born person who may be looked down upon by the society who has devotion to Shri Krishna's lotus feet in his heart. Shri Krishna considers that so-called lowly person to be even higher than that great Brahmin. Bhagwan Ram told the citizens of Ayodhya, "Bhagatihin biranchi kin hoi, sab jiva hi sam mohi priya soi." Even if Biranchi, Brahma, is bereft of devotion to me, he is no more dear to me than any average soul. Bhagativant atini chahu prani, mohi pran priya asi mam bani. But if even the most lowly of all beings cherishes devotion to me in his heart, then I consider him to be more dear than my own soul, more dear than my own life. Then what do we have to worry about? All we have to do is become innocent, love him faithfully. He will take care of the rest. Jo tu dhave ek pag to main dhaun saath. Shri Krishna himself says, if you take one step towards me, I'll run 60 steps towards you. So we have the inspiration. How do we follow up on this now? How do we put it into practice? As I mentioned yesterday, it requires correct knowledge. What Sri Maharaj calls Tattva Gyan. Spiritual knowledge or spiritual understanding forms the basis for devotion and for understanding how to integrate devotion into our busy lives. What do we have to understand? I would say it could all be summed up like this. We have to make Radha Krishna a part of our family. Whether you're a one-person family, or whether you have 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 in your family, we have to make Radha Krishna truly a part of our family. In our heart, we have to feel like that. Then we will find a way to integrate devotion into our lives. I'll explain this from 2 different aspects. the theoretical aspect, the knowledge needed, and then the practical aspect of how we can actually put it into, we can realize it in our life, in our schedule. Let's start with the theory. When we consider someone to be a family member, why do we consider them to be a family member? Because we feel related to them. And since we feel related to them, we think about them and we make time for them. Because they're family. You make time for family, and family tends to be in your mind a lot. Who do we consider to be our family in this life? Those who are related to our physical body are our family. Our mother, who gave birth to our physical body, our father, our brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, grandparents, children, grandchildren, that's our family. Are any of those people related to our soul? No. They're related to us, but they're not related to me. Maharaji gave a whole series of lectures entitled Main Kaun, Mera Kaun. Who am I and what is mine, or who is mine? Who is related to me, in other words. How many lectures? 103 lectures. And not half-hour lectures like you were going to hear from me tonight. 1-hour lectures. To give us this understanding, who am I and to whom am I related? Because that's the basic knowledge. That's what we need in order to transform our life from... Some of you may even feel like, my life is a mess. It's out of control. How do you transform it from that state into a spiritual life? Knowledge. That's what's required. The knowledge of Main Kaun, Mera Kaun. Who am I? And to whom do I belong? The answer to the first question is very simple. I am Atma. I'm a divine soul. I'm not this body. You all know this. You've read it. You've heard it. But none of us live in that spiritual type of consciousness or mindset. We know it just like an answer you could give on a test, but we don't live our life according to that. Kind of like if a thief took a test on morality and ethics, and on that test there was a question, is it immoral to steal? He would say, yes, that's true. He would give the correct answer, but he'd walk out of there and go steal something from your house or your backpack. So he has the knowledge, but he's not implementing it. Similarly, we would check that box. What is my true identity? Soul or body? We'd check the soul box, right? But we don't live that way. We actually live as if we are the body. And this is why we consider all the relatives of our body to be our only relatives. When the fact is that since we are divine souls, we also have a divine relative. Yesterday when we were singing the bhajan before my lecture, we sang, Tu hi to hai mera Nanda Nandan. Tu hi means you only. I just used the word also. Maharaji would really scold me for using that word. I said, you have family related to your body and you also have someone related to your soul. Maharaji says, bhi mat lagao, hi lagao. Why? Because your true self is the soul. Maharaji also says, you have a physical relation to your family, and that comes with certain duties and responsibilities, and you cannot ignore those. It doesn't matter if you're on the path of Raganuga Bhakti. That's not an excuse to abandon any kind of worldly responsibilities. But following the path of Raganuga Bhakti means understanding that there's another responsibility which supersedes all. Because you're the soul. Savai punsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje. Bhagavatam. You heard this shlok yesterday. Your supreme dharma is to love God. Making dal, roti, cleaning your house, feeding your family, earning the money to keep the roof over your head, to buy the food and to send your kids to school, that's also your dharma, but that's your apara dharma. That is your physical dharma. It's the dharma related to your body. But your spiritual dharma is related to your soul. And there's only one related to your soul. That's Radha Krishna. Aapke saath kaun jayega? Koi nahi. Keval ek. Radha Krishna. इस संसार से, आपके परिवार से कोई नहीं जाएगा आपके साथ जब आप इस शरीर को छोड़ के जाएंगे. केवल राधा कृष्ण और आपका कर्म जाएगा. तो फिर कौन है आपका अपना? कौन है? जब ये शरीर भी नहीं जाएगा आपके साथ तो शरीर संबंधी वाले लोग कौन जाएगा? You're not even going to get to take this body with you that you're so attached to. जैसे महाराज जी कहते हैं, आप शीशे में देखकर विभोर हो जाते हैं. We sometimes feel pride looking at ourselves in the mirror, thinking, oh, I like this part of me, I like that part of me. We're so attached to our bodies. Even this body is not going with us after death. Then how could we think that the people related to our body are going to go with us? When we're leaving the body behind, it means all of those relationships, they remain there as well. So we do have relations with people, and duties come along with those relationships, but they're temporary. And anything temporary is called asat. Only that which is eternal is sat. So our only true relation is with Radha Krishna. This might be hard to hear if you're hearing it for the first time or even the 10th time, because it disrupts our normal way of thinking. Like I said, as long as we believe I'm the body, then we believe that the people we're physically related to are mine. But I don't think any of you could intellectually argue with any of the statements I've made. You would say, yeah, I'm the soul. Am I leaving this body? Yes, I'm leaving this body. When I leave this body, are any of these people, mother, father, children, husband, wife, are any of them coming with me? No. I don't think any of you would argue that. And yet, your heart says, मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता जब भैया ऐसे बोलते हैं. मन लगता है यहाँ से उठ के भाग जाऊं. Sometimes we feel that, like, how can bhaiya say that? He's disrespecting my father, disrespecting my mother, saying I'm not related to them. That's what our heart says, right? Our mind says, no, I can't argue with anything he said. And our heart says, this is somehow disrespectful, or it's somehow wrong, or I don't like it. I don't want to listen to it anymore. This path isn't for me. So keep in mind, Shri Maharaj Ji is very direct in telling us these facts. This is a truth. But he also knows we take baby steps. Maharaj Ji doesn't tell anyone to leave the family. Maharaj Ji doesn't tell anyone to abandon their duties. But truth is truth. That day is coming. वो दिन आने वाला है जब हमको सब कुछ छोड़ना पड़ेगा. That day is coming when we are going to have to leave all these people. It doesn't matter that your heart is saying, but I don't want to. But I don't like this thought of these people are not mine. I want them to be mine. None of that is going to matter at that last minute, that last moment. When Yamraj says, chalo, you have to go. So we might as well accept the truth now. We're going to have to accept it then. Why not accept it now? Even if it doesn't really, it's not very sweet sounding to our ears, but a fact is a fact. So let's accept it now. All our money, all our possessions, if our body isn't coming with us and our family isn't coming with us, none of that is coming either. We're so attached to those things. If someone says, give $1,000 to this charitable project, we feel similarly to how we feel when I tell you we're not actually related to our family members. You get the same feeling. We're going to have to leave it. We're going to have to let go of it eventually, right? So Shri Maharaj says, let go of it from in here from now. I'm not telling you to get rid of anything physically. Let go of it from in here, because you're going to have to let go of it eventually when that day comes, when the time of death comes. At that time, you'll have to let go of it physically, and it doesn't matter how attached you... In fact, the more attached you are, the more it's going to hurt at that time. So let go of it now, from in here. It's the difference between living in a house you think you own and a house you're renting. You buy a house, you couldn't afford it all on your own, so your brother says, oh, I've got $1 million income every, that's my annual income. I can co-sign the lease with you. You don't know about these things, so you let him handle it with the broker and the lawyer. And you move into your new house, and you're so happy, and you're looking at everything. And how are you looking at it? All of this is mine. So much attachment already. That's living in a house you own, right? That house wasn't yours before. Now you consider it to be yours. One day, it's not going to be yours. You're going to have to leave it. Maybe you don't pay your mortgage and the bank takes it back. You have to leave it then. Or maybe when you leave this body, you have to leave it. One day you're going to have to leave it. What if along the way you get a little curious about the title, the deed for the property, and you go and have a look at it and you find, what? My name isn't even on here. It's only my brother's name. He didn't tell me? So you call him up. You're feeling so angry. How dare you? And he says, no. I don't ever want your house. I don't ever want to live in it. You live in it. But you're thinking, but it's not mine. So now when you're in the house, you're looking, okay, I get to live here my whole life, but it's not mine. It belongs to my brother. That's how we're supposed to live in this world. None of this is mine. It's temporary. It's borrowed. Whatever it is, I may get to keep it for my whole life, but it's still borrowed. It's somebody else's. It's God's. And I'm just using it temporarily. This body is also a rental. Eventually, we've got to turn this in too. So if we understand that I am not the body, I am the soul. My true beloved, my true friend, my true mother, father, everything is Him. Divyo Deva Narayano Mata Pita Bhrata Nivasa Sharanam Surid Gati. Ved tells us He's your everything. Mother, father, brother, friend, beloved, well-wisher, protector, ultimate goal, everything. If we know that, see, this is the theoretical part. That's the knowledge. If we understand that, only then we will start to feel related to Him. Until we start to feel related to Him, we're not going to make time for Him. That's definite. We make time for family. So if we don't feel related to him, we're not going to make that time. We have so many other things. But look at how family works. Let's say you have 2 kids, and most of you whom I visit, you have 1 or 2 kids. Even those with 1 kid, that 1 kid keeps you so busy. Driving them to school, driving them to this class and that class, dance and extra math classes and music classes. I see you, आप लोग परेशान रहते हैं. 1 या 2 बच्चे से. So imagine you have 2 kids and you couldn't imagine fitting anything more into your schedule. Like in the morning, I see you guys in the morning when I go to your homes on a weekday morning. It's crazy, right? And every morning is like that. So if someone told you, could you fit any more in your schedule? You'd say, not a chance. No way. Let's say without planning, a 3rd child is born to you. You were just saying, no chance, no way could I fit anything else in my schedule. Now you fit something else in. You find a way, because that's family. You make it happen. For family, what don't we do? Some of you have perfectly good schools within walking distance of your house, and knowing that school over there, 45 minutes drive away, is better for my kid. You make that drive every day because there's no bus to take them. You make such a sacrifice for your kids. You do everything for family. And when that 3rd kid is born, somehow you find a way to do just as much for them, no less. How do you do it? Pata nahi. कैसे करते हैं आप लोग? मैं सन्यासी हूं, मैं क्या जानता हूं. But you do. So that's why I know that if you make Radha Krishna a member of your family, you will find time for them. It doesn't matter how busy you are, you will make time for them. But when will that happen? When the knowledge is firm in the mind, right? I am the soul. I'm eternally related to them. That's my divine relationship with them. They care for me so much. They've never left me in uncountable lifetimes. Everywhere I go, they're with me. No matter how bad I am, no matter how little I remember them, they never forget me, even for a second. So when we realize all of this, then we'll make time for them. As we heard in Maharajji's speech this afternoon, avritti rasakre dupadeshat. We have to do manan, chintan of these simple facts that I shared with you today. We have to go over this again and again in our mind, and it goes more and more deeply into our heart until finally Radha Krishna are residing there really as a member of our family. Then when you're cooking, you'll cook for them. And then you'll also have your family eat the prasad, but you cooked for Radha Krishna. When you clean your house, you'll clean for them because they live in your house. They're a member of your family. See, you're finding a way to include devotion in your life. You're cleaning and you're cleaning for Radha Krishna. You're cooking and you're cooking for Radha Krishna. Before you go to sleep at night, you'll think, just like I tuck the kids in and tell them a bedtime story, let me also spend a few minutes with Radha Krishna. Let me read something devotional, or let me listen to some kirtan and do some Rup Dhyan before I sleep. When you're driving in the car, instead of listening to talk radio or something like that, you'll put one of Maharajji's speeches on and make that devotional time. There are so many ways of incorporating devotion into our life. But of course, it all depends on our knowledge. So we make the knowledge firm, and then the practical side, pretty much takes care of itself. We can share some tips with each other, like I just did with you about driving and making time at bedtime and cooking and cleaning. But really, it's going to take care of itself if you make the knowledge go in deeply enough. You don't skip out on eating and sleeping, right? You find time for those things because your body is so important to you. And you hear the cry of your body. If you deny it sleep or you deny it food, it cries out, right? So you take appropriate action. That's why we don't miss sleeping and eating. We take care of our body. But quite often we ignore our soul and we're deaf to the cry of our soul that's crying out for Radha Krishna. It's crying out to meet our divine beloved. We're deaf to that. But if we make Radha Krishna a member of our family and we really remember that we are the divine soul, then we'll also carve out time in our schedule. Just like when you have 2 kids and the 3rd kid is born to you, you carve out time in your schedule so that that child gets what they need. So once Radha Krishna become a part of your family, in your heart, you will carve out time for them. You will find time aside from cooking and cleaning and driving. You'll also find 15 minutes away from everyone and you'll sit and you'll do Rup Dhyan and listen to Kirtan. You'll make that happen. Just like no matter how busy you are, you have to find time to eat. You have to find time to sleep. One way or another, you do it. When Radha Krishna become more important to you, then you'll find a way. You'll make it happen. I will not let anything get in the way of my 15 minutes of Kirtan and Rup Dhyan that I have to do every day to feed my soul. You won't be able to go without it. You won't allow anything to take that time away. So this is how it's possible to incorporate devotion into our lives. It's feasible for everyone, no matter how busy they are. It's a matter of us wanting to make it happen, gaining the appropriate knowledge, taking that knowledge to heart and revising it again and again, rolling it over in our mind again and again, developing that loving attachment for Radha Krishna and making them a part of our family and a part of our life. So we see that it's possible, it's not even difficult, it just takes determination. That's it. So this is where I'll end this lecture tonight, and we'll continue further ahead. Bolo Shri Radhe Govind Bhagwan ki Jai. Shrimat Sadguru Sarkar ki Jai.